What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of 90 Day Fiance The Other Way, Season 5, Episode 19, Owing Pains. Let's start off with TJ and Kimberly. So, TJ and Kimberly, they're upstairs in a little apartment area, getting everything situated. I think they were also installing a shrine on the wall where they're going to be praying to their God. And so the brother, he's up there also as well, helping them install this shrine in their wall. And then after that, TJ brings Kimberly downstairs and they want to have like a family meeting because this is where they're going to tell Kimberly like what is expected of her now that she's married to TJ and she's officially a part of the family. So the mother-in-law tells her what her duties will be. She says, we're going to be waking up around 5 or 6 in the morning, not that early, 5 or 6 in the morning, and they're going to get the day started. So they talk about washing dishes, and Kim says that she is not going to wash dishes. She says that washing dishes is disgusting because people have eaten off the plates and the utensils and now she has to touch them. And I'm thinking to myself, girl, everybody washes dishes. Like, what are you talking about? Washing dishes is disgusting. It's not something that people really relish in doing, but it has to be done. We all have washed dishes by hand. Wear gloves. Okay, wear some latex gloves or something when you wash your dishes if you're that, weird about touching dishes and utensils that other people have used. But I was really shocked that she was just like, ugh, washing dishes, disgusting. And I know she probably meant, washing them by hand because she's probably used to using a dishwasher back in the United States. But still, she was just really doing the most about just washing dishes. So Kim says, no, they said that Kim will be expected to cook for her and TJ, but I guess not for the whole family. Okay. So what is the point of having a daughter-in-law if she's not going to wash dishes and she's not going to cook for the family? Like, I don't understand, because I'm thinking the mother-in-law had expectations of Kim helping her out. But Kim is not going to do the dishes. She's only going to cook for her and TJ. So the mom has to do the dishes and cook for the rest of the family as well. That just didn't make any sense to me, how they were just like so easy with her doing whatever the hell she wanted. So Kim tells TJ when they go back upstairs, she says, I had asked you before we got married if I'm going to be expected to be this traditional Indian wife and do all of these types of chores. And you told me that I didn't have to and not to worry about it. And TJ said something about how he wasn't really clear when he was explaining it to her, and that he was waiting for his mother to explain it better. And so Kim was like, yeah, I don't appreciate that because I felt really blindsided. You need to be always upfront with me. And he said something about how what he did was wrong, but he did it for a good reason. And she's like, there's never a good reason to withhold information from your partner. And so Kim also says that she wants their cultures to blend. She just doesn't want it to be where she's just taking on his culture 100%. I just don't know. So after that, TJ, he steps out for a little bit, and now the mother-in-law is going to teach her the lessons in Indian housekeeping. And lesson number 1 is to burn cow manure in the house. And so they decided to burn it in the kitchen. And I guess the cow manure, because she kept on asking, why are we doing this in the kitchen? I thought we were going to be doing this in the living room. And the brother-in-law tells her, Tosh tells her that, no, we're going to burn it in the kitchen because cow manure has micro something benefits. It's got something to do with being, I don't know, cleansing or being good for the environment or something like that. So they're burning it in the kitchen, and then they take it and they kind of like walk it out throughout the house. And Kimberly is just not feeling this at all. She knew that this was done, the burning of the cow manure, but she didn't think that it was going to be done in the kitchen. And then after that, they also take a bottle of cow urine, which was extremely dark. Like, that cow needed some water. I could not imagine how dark that urine was. Like, damn, like cows don't drink water. So they take this bottle of very dark cow urine, and they sprinkle it like in the doorways and I think throughout the house. And so Kimberly wasn't feeling that as well. Now, this is what really confused me is, she said that this is the last time that y'all are going to be burning cow manure and sprinkling cow urine in my house. And I'm thinking, what do you mean your house? Because I thought that they were already downstairs because they were in the kitchen. So if she was talking about they weren't going to burn cow manure and sprinkle cow urine anymore in her house, then they must have been upstairs, because I know this girl isn't calling the downstairs part her house, because that's the part that she refused to live in. So upstairs, she has her own kitchen as well. And if she has her own kitchen upstairs, why was the mother-in-law up there? Because I thought the mother-in-law would have been doing all of the cooking and the cleaning and everything else downstairs. Why would the mother-in-law venture upstairs to do this? Like, I was so confused about what was going on. Also, Kimberly had a problem with the mother-in-law because after they burned the cow manure, she took like a washcloth or some type of a rag and she started cleaning off the countertop where the cow manure dish was at. And then after that, she took the same wash rag and she began washing dishes, and she was washing the wok that they were going to start cooking in with that same rag. And so Kimberly was like, she told TJ, because by this time TJ came back in after, she screeched out his name. So he comes back in and she tells TJ, your mom is using the same washcloth that she used for the countertop where she wiped the cow manure. Now she's using it to wash the dishes with. And so he told his mom, don't do that, use another. The mom got upset. She got frustrated because she was like, all she does is fuss about nothing. She's fussing about nothing. And the mom was trying to tell TJ, the washcloth, I was not using it to wipe the cow manure. I was just wiping around on the cow. So it was just like a lot of, anyways. So I was just really confused on as far as like, why are we, where are we? Where are we, in Kimberly's apartment, or are we downstairs in the main house? Because when she said, I don't want this ever to be done again in my house, I thought she was straight up tripping, because I thought they were all downstairs, y'all. I don't know what was going on. So it seems like, TJ is going to be siding with his wife, and he's going to be letting her do or get away with whatever the hell she wants to get away with. I don't know where the father was, but the father is very mute and not really involved. It seems like the mother is the one that kind of like takes charge of everything, but TJ constantly overrules her. So Kimberly's not going to really have to do anything that she's not comfortable doing. And that's what it seems like to me. She doesn't want to wash dishes. She's not going to be burning cow manure, sprinkling cow urine. And she's not going to be cooking for the family. She's only going to be cooking for her and TJ. Moving on to Brandon and Mary. So Mary we see her at the church by herself. Initially, when we see her, it's daytime. Then a little bit after that, it's nighttime and she's still sitting in the church. So like I said, anyways, I'll get to that later. So Mary's very stressed out. She came to the church to de-stress and decompress because she's very worried about their financial situation, and her and Brandon have been arguing a lot about finances. She feels like that she's the one that is left to manage their money and their bills and their debts, and Brandon really doesn't do anything but complain on how she's managing the money. And that really irritates her, because she's like, if you're going to be complaining, I need you to contribute. And if you're not going to contribute, shut the hell up. So she's stressing about that. And his mother comes to the church and sits next to her, and they start talking. And Mary tells her what her issues are, that she's really worried about the fact that, they're about to have this baby. They're fighting about money. And she feels like they have no plans for the future. And Brandon's mom is like, yeah, you don't. The mom says that this is why she did not want Brandon to move to the Philippines, because she felt like he was not ready and she was not ready to take on this huge responsibility of being together and being married when they have a lot of issues. Not only are they like immature personality wise or immature mentally. They're also immature financially. They don't know how to budget, how to manage money. They don't know anything about that. So she's like, oh, it wasn't like I didn't like you or anything like that. It's just that I felt like y'all were just not ready to move on to that next step in your relationship. So Mary says that right now she feels like she only wants, because she's supposed to be getting married the very next day. And she says she's only like 50% sure that she wants to get married to Brandon. And so the mother says, well, the way that you'll know whether or not you really want to be with someone is if, you know, you can imagine your life without them. Now, can you imagine your life without Brandon? And of course, Mary says no. She says she loves Brandon. We all know they're going to get married. So then Brandon's mom says that they have a lot of problems, but they also have a lot of potential. She says, you know, I had this vision of how you were going to be like, because in America, you know, I saw that you were extremely controlling and very bossy with Brandon, but now that I'm actually here, you know, you're not that bad. You're okay. And she says, you know, you have the potential of being a very good wife and a very good mother. And so, you know, Mary takes all this in, and Mary's very appreciative, and she's like, oh, thank you so much for the advice, so on and so forth. And then it feels like, as much as Mary did not like the mother, I feel like Mary really craves her approval. And anytime that the mother is shelling out this advice or saying anything remotely positive, I feel like Mary is just, you know, taking it all in, and she's like really hungry for his mother to like approve of them. That's what I feel like. I don't know if it's actually what y'all are seeing, but that's what I feel like. You know, like she kind of wants that I'm not going to say that mother-daughter relationship, but she really wants some type of a connection with his mom. So I realized that as they were talking, Brandon's mother's face was extremely red because, you know, exposure to the sun. She got really sunburnt. And I'm thinking maybe this is the reason why they're always filming at night, because I mentioned this in my previous video, that it seems like with Mary and Brandon, they're always filming at night. And they'll do a little bit of the daytime, but then we'll go like quickly into night. And maybe because it's so hot, maybe that's why they continue to film at night, because it's a little bit cooler. I'm not really sure. But I mean, there's nothing much that Mary's mom can say, because the baby's gonna be there. Brandon is already living in the Philippines. She can't tell her son, hey, forget about all of this. Let's just go back to America and do a do-over. She can't do that. This is what's happening right now. She has to accept it. You want it to go well, and you want to be a part of your grandchild's life. You don't want to alienate these people. So, you know, it's great that she's trying to connect with Mary, and she's giving her really good advice, because at the end of the day, this is how she's going to be able to facilitate a relationship with her grandchild. Moving on to Sarper and Shina. These people are a hot mess. Sarper and Shina, they are a hot mess. This is an example of a relationship that's completely fallen apart because it's so superficial. It is so superficial. Everything about this relationship, everything about these people is just so fake. Anyways, so Sarper is meeting up with his parents, Sir Pill and Sir Khan. And they're talking about, you know, Shina, because they had met Shina the night before. And the parents tell Sarper that they really liked her. They didn't have any issues with her. So that's wonderful. So now because Sarper is an only child, he is his parents' only hope of becoming grandparents. He does have the son that he abandoned, that's a grown adult now, that, you know, I guess we're not going to talk about him anymore. But I guess if they want a grandchild for them to connect with and have a relationship with, Sarper is all they have to give them that grandchild. They don't have any other children. So the parents say that first of all, they talk about Sarper must be very serious about Shina for him to even introduce her to them, because they have never met any of his girlfriends. So this must be a very serious relationship. He must have some really deep feelings for her, because he has never introduced them to any of his women. Then they talk about children, and Sarper wants children. His parents want grandchildren, but he tells them Shina does not want to have any children, period. She's done with that. And the parents are very old school, very old fashioned, very traditional. And they're like, you know what? It's the wife's duty to give her son a child if that's what he really wants. So to hell with what she wants, to hell with how she feels. You know, if you want a child, she needs to give you a child. Point blank, period. After that, he meets up with Shekinah, because now he's beginning to have second thoughts about even marrying her. He had planned to like propose to her and get married to her, because the whole purpose of her living, moving to Turkey was for them to get married. So now he's having second thoughts about that because she doesn't want to have a child. I'm a little bit surprised that Sarper is like harping on this whole having a child thing, because he really doesn't seem like someone who would want to like be tied down with a kid. It seems like he's still having a lot of fun with Shekinah. I just can't imagine him all of a sudden wanting to, settle down with a child. Not that he wouldn't, maybe like a little bit in the future, but I'm just surprised that he's bringing it up now, and he's so adamant about it now. So him and Shekinah, they go to a Turkish bath to have like, couples time and to relax. And after the rest and relaxation, they get down to the nitty gritty. So Sarper brings up the whole situation with his parents. He says, I met with my parents. The good news is they like you. The bad news is they want some grandbabies, and I intend to give them grandbabies. And she's just like, where is this all coming from? Because I'm really shocked. They had that conversation before where she asked him, when we first met, you were like, I don't want no damn kids. And he was like, yeah, I was just trying to get in your pants. I don't know how telling her that he doesn't want kids was a scheme or a plan or a method to get into her pants, because usually, anyways, moving on. So she says, I already told you I don't want to have any kids. I don't want to have any more children, because my ex-husband, he was not a present parent, and I was left with the responsibility of raising my daughter all by myself, and I am not going to go through that again. And she says to him, I knew him longer than I knew you, so I had more trust in him and more, hope in him than I do you, and he still disappointed me. So our relationship is, is still kind of like trying to develop and grow. There's no way that I can commit to a child with you. And he says to her, he promises that no matter what, he'll always be there for his child. Even if they break up, he's always going to be there for his child. And they're like at an impasse, they're just not going to come to a meeting of the minds on this whole child issue. So, he says, if you don't want to have a kid with me, then I really don't see a future for us. And she's like, you're telling me that our whole entire future hinges on whether or not we have a kid. There's so much more to that, so much more to us and to our future than just having a baby. And he's like, that's it. If you don't want to have a kid, I just don't see myself having a future with you. You can stay, we can still have a good time, but yeah, eventually you're going to have to go back to America. And then he says to her, this is my karma for being with 2,500 women. This is my karma. And and so she gets upset. She's like, I don't want to hear about your 2,500 women. So she gets up and she walks away. They cuss each other out, and that's supposed to be the end of that. Sarper is a lot. That man is intense. And I don't know if he really wants to have a kid. I don't know if he's using a kid to try to break up with her, knowing damn well that that's the one thing that she's not going to give into. Or I don't know if he's using a kid to try to control her, just because of the fact that, this is another way for him to control her. And, it's going to be the ultimate test of how powerful he is if she does give in, because she's so adamant about not having a kid. So I don't know what's going on with Sarper, but I just don't think that he's that kind of guy that would just be like very hands-on with the baby. I feel like he's that kind of guy. He's gonna be very like old-fashioned and traditional, like his parents, where it's like, hey, you take care of the baby. I'm gonna go whatever. I'm gonna go watch TV. I'm gonna go out there and make money. You deal with the baby. And I think that Shekinah is right for feeling as if he's going to leave her with the majority of the responsibility of raising the child. I just don't see Sarper as that kind of guy who's going to be very hands-on. He could be, I don't know, but if I have to put my money on it, I'm going to put my money on him being, the kind of dad that is just not going to be very involved. He'll play with the baby for a couple of minutes and then hand the baby off back to the mother and just be done with it. And so I don't know what they're going to do. I just don't know what they're going to do. But the way they argue with each other, it's pretty vicious. It is pretty vicious. The cussing out each other and the disrespect that it's pretty bad. Moving on to Danielle and Johan. So they're trying to move forward from the whole money heist situation where he took like $120 from her account, and she still really can't get over it. She's acting as if this man took like all the money out and just went to go just blow it on on a motorcycle or something. I understand whether it's 120 or 1200 or 120,000. He still took money from her that she felt like he had no right to, even though they're married, whatever. So they're trying to get over that. They're trying to move past that. It's Christmas time. And he's dressed up like Santa. She's dressed up like an elf because they're going to be going somewhere to give away presents or whatever for the children. I don't know. And so then they start talking about money. So Danielle says that she needs his half of the rent. He says he doesn't have it because he's been spending his money on rent and car rentals. So he doesn't have the money. He says, I don't have a savings account like you. So she gets upset, of course, like, what the hell is going on? You always don't have the money. And then he tells her, this is the life that you wanted. You wanted to live in the Dominican Republic when I told you that life here is hard. You didn't want to listen to me. You didn't want to believe me. You promised me that we were going to go live in America. You were going to fix my papers. Then you changed your mind. Now you want to live in the DR because life is going to be so easy breezy here. Money's going to come so easily here. The cost of living is so low. Well, this is what you wanted. You figure it out. I'm out of this. This is your problem. This is your issue because this is what you wanted. So you figure out how you're going to pay the rent. And she's just like, oh my God, Johan, I can't believe you're doing this to me. I can't believe you're talking to me like this. And she's like, what do you want me to do? He goes, I'm through. I'm done. I'm removing myself from this completely. This is what you wanted. This is what you wanted. I never signed up to living here. I never signed up to the renting of the apartments, the renting of the cars. I did not sign up for any of this. If we were going to stay here, I was hoping that we could buy a house and then buy a car and just be done with it all. But you wanted to do all this renting stuff and throw your money away. So you figure it out. So she's, hyperventilating and she's in tears. And he's just like, I said what I said. So, and then he gets up and he walks away. And that's the end of that. And I'm like, this is stupid. This is absolutely stupid. Danielle, I don't know what to say, girl. You might as well just pack up and come back to New York. I don't know what you're going to do because you're trying to turn a vacation fling into a whole entire marriage. And it's just not working out for you. And you're looking like Boo Boo the Fool every single week. Every single week. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video if you like this content, subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.